Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Hurricane SPLIFFY Show. As you can see, we're roughing it again today. So I want to open the show with an apology for my outburst last week. As some hi, Ms. Pariah. As some of you know, when I started doing this, I was a guest on somebody else's show, and he's no longer on the air. And when I was a guest on his show, I had somebody to talk to, and it was a lot easier having somebody to talk to. So last week, when I was sitting here doing my show, and there was no one on the live stream that I was aware of, because there was nobody on the live chat, I became somewhat frustrated. And I didn't know if there was anybody out there. So, I kind of went off. And that's what I want to apologize for, because in retrospect, I now realize that the majority of the viewers of this show watch it in post-production. So it was rude of me to do what I did. So I just want to apologize for being an ass. Okay. So I just want to get that out of the way. So I have a few short things I want to talk about to get the show started, and then we'll get to the main topics. Okay. So first of all, I got some good news. John Bolton, the National Security Advisor. Hey, Dog Pound. Yeah, you're right. I hung up on you, and Buster now owes you a sandwich. Soon as he grows some thumbs, he'll make you one. How's that? So anyway, that's some good news, because, John Bolton, he was a warmonger, a real hawk. But there seems to be some question as to whether he resigned or got fired. He said he offered to tender his resignation, and the guy in the Oval Office said, well, we'll talk about it tomorrow. And then when tomorrow came, the guy in the Oval Office says, oh, I fired him last night. So the guy's an ass, So after he left, Christine Samulon, his personal assistant, she either fired or resigned. We don't know which. And the two senior directors for strategic communications that worked under him, they either quit or got fired too. So there's nobody in national security now. So these are the people who are supposed to advise the president. Okay. And apparently he thinks he can advise himself. So, now there's a revolving door in the White House right now. In 2017, when he took office, 21 people were fired or quit. And in 2018, 30 people were fired or quit. And so far this year, 20 people were fired or quit. So, well, 20, excuse me, that doesn't count Christine Samulon and the other two senior. So there's actually 23 people who have fired or quit this year. So he has a hard time hanging on to folks. I guess he must be a real asshole to work for, you know. But I mean, that's this to me. This is good news. I mean, anytime you can get a hawk to no longer be whispering in the president's ear, I find this to be a good thing. Okay, we don't need any fucking warmongers talking to this asshole, because I mean, he's fucking crazy enough, you know. I mean, because Bolton wanted us to go over and just bomb the piss out of Iran. Okay, so I think his not being there is probably a good thing. Okay, in fact, definitely a good thing. Okay, and continuing on the light side, the NRA has filed suit against the city of San Francisco. And you might think to yourself, well, why is that good news? Well, oh, look, I missed 420. I got to spark this puppy up. We'll get to the good news in a minute. I need to get a buzz on. This actually is the first one today. I was frightfully busy early this morning because I screwed off all day yesterday and didn't work on my notes. So I got up early this morning. Oh, shit. I got up early this morning to get my shit together. And I went back to bed and took a nap. I got up about an hour and a half ago. So this is actually my first joint today. I was good this morning. I didn't smoke while I was working on my notes and everything. So, but anyway, the city of San Francisco is being sued by the NRA because the city of San Francisco deemed the NRA, here's the best part, a domestic terrorist organization. That's the part I love. It's about time. Yes, I am enjoying retired life. Forging Seeker. Welcome aboard. So, San Francisco, I guess, is, I guess you'd say they're right on target. They took aim at the NRA and hit them big time. All we have to do is get other cities and to follow suit. Pardon the pun. Now for the bad news. I know I've been talking about this deferred action policy. These kids at these sick kids and that have received notice of deportation. You had Isabel Bueso in California, the young woman who came over here when she was 7, invited over here when she was 7 by the AMA because she has an extremely rare disease. And she's 24 now. And as a result, and the thing about her rare disease is that because it's so rare, finding people to experiment on is extremely difficult. So geekicidal tendencies, excuse me. Welcome aboard. Because her disease is so rare, it's not easy to find people to experiment on. So, I mean, that's why they brought her here. I mean, they've been studying her all these years. And as a result of her study, they have found a cure. Now, she needs weekly IV treatments to stay alive. Now, they've scheduled her for surgery next month. They held hearings this week. Excuse me, but my allergies have been bugging me all week. I don't know if it's just the change of season. We've been getting rain. My nose has been running, even with my Flonase. Anyway, I told you they were going to hold hearings this week to determine what the fuck's going on. And they did. Except that this guy, Daniel Renault, was the associate director of the USCIS, appeared before the committee to testify. And he couldn't tell why there was a new policy, what motivated the new policy, or even what the new policy is. Because he said they're in the midst of this lawsuit that was filed that I mentioned last week. So there really was no testimony except by the victims of this deportation, excuse me. So Isabel Gueso had till today to leave the country. There was no deferment that I'm aware of for any of these children. No relief from these letters that went out. As far as I know, they signed death warrants for these kids. They lied last week when they said they were going to re-review these cases on a case-by-case basis. And they're fucked. I don't think anything positive is going to come out of this. They're going to kill these kids. They're going to kill Isabel. There's this kid that's, like I say, between heart surgeries. They're going to send him home. There's this kid from El Salvador who has cystic fibrosis, treatment for which is not available in El Salvador. He's going to be sent back. He testified before the committee this week too, begging them to save his life. These are kids. What the fuck is wrong with this sick son of a bitch? There is no Packer hair coloring coming. Not never, Jim Torres. How could you even think such a thing? Besides, they sucked this year anyway. They're going to suck this year just like they sucked last year. Sure, they beat the Bears in the season opener. They beat the Bears in the season opener last year, too. Didn't matter. They had a sucky season anyway, and the Bears came out on top. What are you going to do? Division leaders, Chicago Bears. Foraging Seeker. I know this is true. It's just hard to believe. This nation's leadership is evil, sick, but really, wait a minute, I'm tearing here. That ain't nothing to what they've been doing all along, killing us with their product and its effluence. Yes. Jim's in trouble. Put him in the corner, Spliffy. Duh, Bears. Yes, Jim. You're right, Foraging Seeker. They've been killing us for years. There was a time when things were very different in this country, and I remember those times, and I'm only glad to say that I have those memories, and I know this is going to sound sick, but I'm kind of glad I'm near the end of my life, because the future don't look fucking good. Let's change the subject. Walter Hickel. Walter Hickel lived in Alaska back before it was a state. He's an entrepreneur and a businessman up there, and helped see to it that Alaska became a state. And in fact, he was governor when I was up there. Well, the last year I was up there. He was governor from 66 to 68. And when Nixon became president, he made Walter Hickel Secretary of the Interior. But his relationship with Nixon fell apart when Kent State happened. I don't know if all you folks are familiar with Kent State, but Kent State University in Ohio was under siege by the National Guard. They had anti-Vietnam War protests there. And the National Guard actually opened fire on students, killing 4 and wounding 9. And Crosby, Stills, and Nash actually did a song about it called Ohio. If you want to check it out on YouTube or Amazon Radio or whatever you might listen to. Tells the story of the incident. But Hickel wrote a letter to Nixon. And the letter was leaked to the press before Nixon even got it. So Nixon wasn't real happy about that. And in the letter, Hickel said that he felt that Nixon was ignoring the youth of America, that their voice wasn't being heard. And Nixon took exception to this. And Nixon at the time was in the process of forming a new agency, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Association, NOAA. And now, you know, there were already other national agencies that were involved with the weather and the ocean and such. And what this NOAA was designed to consolidate these other agencies that had been around for years and years and years. There was the Weather Bureau had been around since 1870. Okay, and then there was the Bureau of Commercial Fisheries, which had been around since 1871, and the U.S. Coast and Geodesic Survey had been around since 1807. So that NOAA was designed to consolidate all these other agencies. And since he was pissed at Walter Hickel, Secretary of the Interior, he decided that he wasn't going to give Walter Hickel NOAA where it ought to be. He put it under the Commerce Department. Oh, and then he fired Hickel. Okay, so now NOAA shouldn't have been under the Commerce Department. It should have been under Department of the Interior. But it ended up under the Commerce Department for years and years and years and years. Now, Obama came along and he said, you know what? I want to move NOAA to where it belongs, under the Department of Interior. It makes the most sense. So that's what he proposed. And Congress, under Mitch McConnell, blocked it, of course. So it stayed under the Commerce Department, and it remains under the Commerce Department. So as a result, when Trump pulled all this bullshit last week with Alabama, he got the head of the Commerce Department to back him up. And it was the head of the Commerce Department, okay, Wilbur Ross, who got on the phone to the acting administrator of NOAA, Neil Jacobs, and said, I want you to change the forecast. I want you to back up Trump, or I'm going to fire your ass. So they put out a bulletin, unsigned, okay, under nobody's name, okay, to back up Trump's bullshit. You know, and that's when Trump went on air with the map with the Sharpie thing that I showed you last week. So NOAA's statement said that from Wednesday 8/28 to Tuesday 9/22, Alabama could have been impacted by tropical storm force winds. Could have been, maybe, possibly, but not hurricane force winds. Okay, nothing that potent, just tropical storm force winds. Okay. Now, on Monday, the National Weather Service had their national conference, and coincidentally, it was held in Huntsville, Alabama. What's this foraging seeker? I think it looks real bad now, and that's real good. People now see grave faults once hidden. The people are now happy. Oh, people are not happy. I'm sorry. Stuff had to get bad before they could see. Now the whole world knows. Went to Michigan dispensary. Holy THC percentage. Jim Torres. Oh. Dog pound. It'll get worse before it gets better, Seeker. And always does. Yes, it does. No, Noah. Jim Torres. Chemtrails control the weather. Foraging seeker. It's like a blister. We don't feel it until we do. Yes. When we feel it, can we address it? It is very lame. The people took so goddamn long to feel it. Yes. So the wound got bigger than it should have. Yes, indeed. Jim took up high-powered weather lasers. It's what we need in Vietnam to keep the area saturated and rain longer. What are you talking about, weather lasers? I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Anyway, let me get back to the story here. So they held this national conference in Huntsville. And the agency head, now this is the National Weather Service agency, okay? And he got up and he praised the Birmingham office of the National Weather Service, because they're the ones who right after Trump posted that Alabama was going to hit, they're the ones who said, he's fucking wrong, Alabama's safe. Okay. So he praised the Birmingham office for maintaining the scientific integrity, and had them stand up at the meeting, and they got a standing ovation, by the way. Okay. He says, because you can't fuck with science. The science was right. Okay. Alabama never got hit. No point. I mean, people, you got people out there, you say something like that, you got people out there fucking boarding up their houses and emptying the fucking supermarkets. It's fucking ridiculous. Jumping in their fucking cars and driving to some other fucking state. That's fucking ridiculous to pull that shit. Why put people in a panic? It's fucking nuts. Okay. So now the chief scientist at NOAA, okay, is investigating why the agent backed off the Trump, backed Trump over this, okay? Because the scientific evidence was compromised, okay? And he had a problem with that. So the head scientist at NOAA, okay, doesn't think the agency should have done this. This politics thing has pissed him off immensely. Okay. I mean, because this was, you don't fuck with life-saving information. Okay. So this isn't over. And fortunately, it's the other side of the coin. Okay. Finally, those scientists are fighting back. Okay. I mean, I've had all these stories over the past few weeks about how the scientists are getting fucked over. And now the scientists are fighting back. And I'm so glad to see that happening. High-powered lasers is what we used in Vietnam to keep the area saturated. Oh, come on, that's bullshit. An overabundance of organic tomatoes, what do I do? I'll tell you what you do. You clean them, wash them, bag them, and freeze them. And then anytime you need tomatoes for sauces or whatever, you're all set. Ah, that's what Dog Pound said too there. Bahamas storm hit like a weapon. Yes, it did. Storm shredded along the whole course of the island. A slow roll, devastating. I wondered, is some mad woman, okay, demonstrated a weapon, Hollywood style? No, don't stew them. Leave them whole. Just wash them and leave them whole. Dry them thoroughly and freeze them. I think all of the nightshades cause this body grief, so I phase them out. Use the phaser on them. I consumed a long time ago belladonna, which is made from deadly nightshade. Mentioning nightshades. Not something you want to do. It's a walking hallucination. Very scary thing. Wow. It's time for the weed of the week. I gotta light this bad boy up again. I've been talking too much. I missed the music and the special effects. So the weed of the week this week is Shark's Breath. 21.42% THC. And it is an indica. Pretty tasty. Little on the little on the harsh side, but I can get past that. Well, I understand what you're saying, people's gender. I understand. I understand why you put it that way. Snowflakes. Okay. Well, I have my At my stoner buddy here again today. There you go. He showed up. New do. He's got a new do today. Got to think about braids. So, oops. Hey, stoner buddy, you're losing your hair. So, you know how I like these Weed of the Week stories. Volcano ash. I like that. It's a story we had so much fun with the weather report last week that I failed to mention that the guy in the Oval Office congratulated Poland on the anniversary of being invaded by the Nazis. I couldn't fucking believe that. He quite literally congratulated Poland. I have to repeat that. He congratulated Poland on being invaded by the Nazis. Like it was a good thing. It was the 80th anniversary. Yes, what a dick. Yeah. And he isn't even named Nixon, and he's a dick. Yes, you're right. It so perfectly did what it could do. And then they got hit with heavy rains again this week. And to give them shit about coming to this country after what happened to them, when there is literally nowhere for them to go. And we're the closest landmass. I mean, we should be taking these people, welcoming these people to this country. I don't think they can possibly give us a realistic count at this point. I don't know that they can even get to the bodies. Buster's crashed out in the back with Mrs. Spliffy. They like to watch TV back there, although he doesn't do much TV watching. He's crashed back there somewhere. Trump forgot he had a kid with Melania. He was apparently he forgot that he was talking about the dangers of vaping, and was talking about Melania's son, but apparently he forgot he fathered it. So it was the funniest fucking thing. Check it out. Check out the video. It's talk about his wife's son, and then it's kind of like, you know, I don't know. It's just the funniest shit. Oh, you gotta watch. It's unfucking believable. He just he forgot he had a kid with her. So what I did, you know, because last week I mentioned that I had to do a happy show, that I was so sick of fucking all the bad shit. I got a laundry list of shit for the Weed of the Week segment here. Okay, I just got a list of shit because I couldn't stop at one today. Okay, I had to cheer myself up. So I hope you can bear with me here, because I mean, I got the Poland thing. I got it. Forgot his kid. Okay. So I got more. It only gets gooder. Ivanka said, this will fucking bust you up. Ivanka said she got her moral compass from her father. So I guess she's a slut who goes around grabbing guys by the cock. I'm half Polish too. And I'm insulted by that. Many thousands have died, and some still are. The U.S. can help. And I think I do too, Foraging Seeker. We should do something for those people in the Bahamas. I mean, there's barely land to stand on, for Christ's sake. Anyway, yeah, she says she got her moral compass from her father. So let's trust this woman. And of course, now the next story is bittersweet. LED lighting makes Trump look orange. Okay. It's not that shit he smears on his skin, you know. It's the LED lighting. What's bittersweet about that story is he's bringing back incandescent bulbs. So, but I think I'm gonna, because I do print up my own T-shirts. I do have my own T-shirts printed with my own sayings on them. I only wear T-shirts with my own sayings on them. I'm original that way. And I think I'm gonna have a T-shirt printed that says "All Hail Richard McEwen," because this guy is a hero of mine as of this week. Okay. Not for what he did last month, but for what he did this week. All right. Well, what he did last week. Richard McEwen was arrested last month for breaking into Taylor Swift's Rhode Island mansion. Barefoot. You're right, Foraging Seeker. He's so yellow, he's orange. Anyway, Richard McEwen. It's the Taylor Swift thing is just incidental to this. Well, see, he was out on bail when he did the thing that was so heroic that I have to put him on a T-shirt. Okay. This guy, it's so nice he had to do it twice. On September 3rd and September 8th, this guy drove his car out onto Trump's New Jersey golf course and cut donuts on the greens, causing $17,000 in damages. I I love this story. This one, when I read this story, this one made my day. Okay, made my week. This guy is my hero. Oh my goodness. This so I would imagine he'll have to make restitution, but I want to send him a check. Okay, we got to get this guy's address. Maybe we can start a GoFundMe page for him or something. Oh gosh, this guy deserves it. Seriously, let's raise some money for him. This I'm putting him on a shirt, no doubt. Him. There's only one other person. I've mentioned this recently to other people. There's only one other person I want to put on a shirt, and that's Al Abramowitz. He's the guy who introduced Bob Dylan to the Beatles, and he brought the weed to the party because the Beatles had never smoked weed before. Okay, so I want to put Al Abramowitz on a T-shirt, and now I got to put Richard McEwen on a T-shirt too. So, why did he do it? Why do you think? Because the guy in the Oval Office is an asshole. He feels the same way about him that I do, I would imagine. He did it for kicks. Oh, by the way, Doug, the cannabis plant, it was a boy. I am sorry to say. H7, welcome aboard. Lava cake, very nice for pain. Uh-oh, I didn't know that, Doug. Well, CBD strains are hard to come by in Illinois. There's one CBD strain available at my dispensary. I mean, heavy CBD. Most of them are just THC strains. I'll have to look that up sometime and let you know what strain that is. But that was my favorite story of all for the strain of the week, the weed of the week stories, was that Richard McEwen guy. He's my hero. I love this dude. Yeah, I get a veterans discount too. That's a nice thing. But they just raised the prices on half ounces. So they were, I don't know where you're at, Apollo, but our half ounces were 140 and was the cheapest. And I only buy this one particular brand of half ounce, and I really like the stuff they sell in the size of the bud. The other ones were always popcorn bud. So there's just one up to 160. So I mean, that still brings it down into the 140s, but it's still not $14 off of 140. So I got an update on that that story about the Scotland airport thing. Turns out flights haven't just been coming from Alaska, but from Iowa and Maine as well. And there have been 936 of them. And 659 of them had overnight stays. And the Scotsman newspaper and the Guardian newspaper of London have been doing feature stories on this this Prestwick Airport for some time now. Excuse me. It seems that this is quite a scandal over there because of this heavy, as they refer to it, heavy U.S. traffic in and out of this the Scottish airport. Seems that Scotland is really, 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 really not fond of Trump. They're cool with the U.S. They're just not fond of Trump. And so it turns out that these flights have been going on into Scotland since 2015, before Trump took office. But this business of staying at Trump's place, this is something new. They always stayed near the airport, local hotels, or maybe they'd go to Dublin, which is much closer. It's not Dublin, Glasgow, which is much closer to the airport than Trump's place. Stay at a hotel there. Cheaper too. Now, don't get me wrong. Now, when they stay at Trump's place, it falls within the price range of their per diem. I mean, what they're allowed to spend for a hotel stay. It's not over the amount. But there are cheaper places to stay in Glasgow. So when they started this in 2015, there were only 95 flights that year, with only 40 overnight stays. Okay, now in 2016, they did up that. There were 145 stops that year for refueling. Now, they say the reason they go there is weather conditions are better. If they stopped anywhere else in Great Britain to refuel, the weather wouldn't be as good. They might have trouble getting in or out. So Scotland's weather's better. So why they don't stop in Germany or in Spain like they've done in the past, I don't know. So But now of those 145 fuel stops that they made in 2016, there were 75 overnight stays. Now, when Trump came into office now in 2017, there were 180 flights into that airport and 116 overnight stays. Now, the Scottish press uncovered an official document that prepared by the Trump organization that announced a partnership in 2017 between the Prestwick Airport and the Trump organization. Okay. Even though that was denied, excuse me, by the Scottish government initially, the press uncovered this document. It was, on Trump stationery, and it's all printed up real fancy, and I saw a picture of it. I got it on my phone. And it was like announcement, this sort of thing. So, and they started increasing, 2017, there were 180 flights and 116 overnight stays. And that's when some of those stays were at the Trump joint, Now in 2018, there were 257 refuelings there, and 208 of those had overnight stays. Now our numbers are really climbing, and so far this year there have been 259 flights into that airport, with 220 of them lodged there overnight. So now they claim that's, that they have 24-hour service there, But if you're going to stay overnight, what the fuck difference does it make, I mean, if you're going to stay overnight, then you can wait till morning anyway, right? So I don't get it, And they're not turning over any documentation on the overnight stays. Okay. I mean, they're getting all the paperwork on the refueling, but they're not getting any paperwork on the overnight stays. So that's a lot of flight. I mean, they've already exceeded last year's numbers, and they haven't, there's still a whole nother fucking quarter to go here. It can't be that convenient to go to fucking Scotland, must be holding up that fucking, that must be where that $4.5 million deficit to a $3 million profit from 2017 to 2018 came from. Can you imagine the amount of money he's going to make this year at that Scotland piece of property? Oh, the amount of money he's going to make this year off us at that Scotland piece of property. We're paying his fucking bills. We're going beyond that. And his attitude is, why shouldn't he profit from his presidency? If I'm not mistaken, he even said that. It's fucking bullshit. I'm getting tired of this whole thing. Impeach, impeach, impeach. You know what? The word impeach sounds like too nice a word. It's like, peach. I guess that's what Homer would think, huh? Homer Simpson probably thinks that way. If you said impeach to him, he'd probably say that. What's everybody saying here? I don't know. I got to scroll or something. I don't even know how to do that. This isn't my laptop. I don't fuck around with mice. I think I got it backwards. I don't know what the fuck. This isn't at all like my Apple. Where am I? Where am I don't know where I am here. I expect to do a weight run today. That Tesla Viper is good. You had that last week, right? Indeed. Very stony, yet the CBD worked real good on the inflammation from recent tooth jaw infection. It's doing the job, no question. That's something we can get around here. Yeah, speaking of t-shirts, was wondering what today says. Oh, I was just out burning leaves. Something we used to do back in the 70s. It's an old saying of mine. So we didn't have bud back then. We just burned the whole plant, What did I do here? Did I move the mouse? I don't know what I did here. I got to be further along with this. I can't find myself here. Oh, gosh. I don't know. I'm lost on here, folks. I can't find where I was conversationally. But you know what? I got to light this other spliff because it's 4:20 past again. I blew it twice today. I got to find you guys. I don't know. Why don't I just zoom down to the bottom and see where we are? I left off at impeach. You're right. I know where I am. I just didn't know where you folks were. I know somebody asked about the shirt. Somebody should go old school on somebody, that's for sure. I like peaches. Yes. Peach. Well, happy 423. uh, it's been a good show, I thought. I don't know about you folks, but I had fun. It excuse me, this is coffee stuff, but it's definitely an indica. What was that again? Shark's breath. You can't read it upside down. Yeah, shark's breath. Good stuff. If I had midgets on the show to be better, first of all, they're not called midgets. Unless you're throwing them. Bars used to have that back in the 80s. They'd have midget tosses back in Chicago anyway, when I lived up there. Yep, must be this tall. This tall. Somewhere in here. Or you could be this tall. So I went to my eye surgeon yesterday, and I asked him if he had watched the show. And he said he had, and that he thought it was hilarious. So, last time he said he wanted to be a guest. And yes, he did come home from the hospital. Yes, he did. Yes, Farmer Dave. Yes, Dave McCorkle. He came home from the hospital. But I don't know if that's a good thing or not. We'll just have to see. I don't know if they sent him home awaiting surgery or if they sent him home. So we'll see. Fingers crossed. But anyway, my doctor, last time he said he wanted to be a guest on the show. And so he asked me if he could do a call-in. So I said, sure. I said, let me give you my number. He said, I got your number. Of course, I'm a patient, as you know. So he might do a call-in sometime. We'll see what happens. But he had just gotten back from London, where he toured the Apple Studios. So he said it was really fantastic. It was they had all the pianos and the Moog synthesizer that the Beatles used when they recorded, and you could actually play them if you wanted to. And he's a musician, so he fiddled around with them and shit. So he says you could actually tell by playing the piano which pianos they used in which songs. Like the one they used in Obla Di Obla Dice, you could tell which one that was, and Long and Winding Road and all that kind of shit. You could tell. He said it was amazing. The place is, he says it's got huge, really high ceilings, and just when you hit the keys on the piano, you could tell that recording in that place would be amazing. Because you can rent it for a 24-hour period for $2,000, and you can do, you can record in there. Or you can do what these people did, and they rented it for the 24-hour period. And in that 24-hour period, they booked 2 tours and sold tickets and made a shit ton of money. And 4 tours and made a shit ton of money. Sold tickets for $150 a piece, and opened it to the public. Sold advance tickets, and so plus airfare. So and had people come from all over. So for $150, you got to spend like 2 hours at Apple Studios, play with the instruments. Whoops. And I almost knocked shit over. And so it was a really cool thing. And these people made a shit ton of money for $2,000. And so it was, there was just, not that many people on each tour, but enough for them to make a lot of dough. Because it's a big place, it's several story, 2-story tall, and so there's enough room to wander without a lot of people there, but enough for them to make a lot of money. So I thought that was a pretty cool idea. So what do we got here? This live streams from LD. Yeah. Unlike it out there. Haven't shaved in months. Haven't cared in longer. Hello, buds. Welcome aboard. We was just talking. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, sure he will. And when he does the first time, he'll be a guest on my show. Isn't that right, dog? Two. Definitely two. Oops, missed my face. Welcome, welcome. Well, you know how it is, that second spliff. Sometimes it's not easy hitting the target. Wow, this stuff really makes me cough. Running long today. I don't know how hot this baby's getting. Ooh, it's getting steamy. I might have to say goodnight, folks. Is it supposed to be sticky on top? Oh, it's pretty hot. I don't know, guys. You miss Hazard? Yeah, I think you're right. I think you should. Who's 7'10"? Wow. I think I have to stop, folks. This thing is getting too warm. It's an old laptop. So, you know what I always say? There's nothing funny about peace, love, and understanding. See ya.